So the real intent that we had when we opened up our last little fella there, the Cavis karaoke player, was to get inside and find something that looked a little bit more like this. What we're after is the power transformer. And hopefully we're going to find a toroidal based transformer. It doesn't mean that the iron core, the square style transformers, don't work. You should leave that decision up to the manufacturer of the audio equipment. I've heard guys that believe in both. One of the things about a properly designed toroidal transformer that makes them great, though, is that the magnetic field that is produced is supposedly able to be kept within a very, very small radius. They're almost self-canceling. And that's really important, as you've seen in some of our other audiophile videos, that the transformer, the magnetic field that it can put out, can create a lot of havoc for the rest of your circuit. So one of the things that you could do in this particular amplifier, this is a Adcom GFA 7000. It's an older unit from Adcom, a company that I really like. I think they make some great audio components at really affordable prices. And what we're going to do is we're just going to show you and any manufacturer that might be interested in how to be able to go about taking some of the vibrations from the transformer and actually putting them out through the bottom of the chassis instead of having them come out through the wire leads. That is the only other really realistic option that all these vibrations have to escape through from the actual transformer itself. So basically what happens if you ever put a stethoscope on the top of a transformer, you're going to hear all this violent humming and buzzing that's going inside on the transformer itself. And it's created in part by magnetic fields that are rising and collapsing and competing with one another all the times, which is the exact method that they use to be able to create the type of current and voltage output that they want when they create the actual transformer itself. Now this is a good sized toroidal transformer inside this particular chassis, and it's pretty typical of anything that you'll see in high-end audio. It's got a bolt that kind of comes up through the center, and I've already pre-loosened this so that I could take this particular cap off. And this little cap right here has a rubber backing on it, okay? And the rubber is designed to isolate it a little further electrically from the metal in the chassis. But the wire that they use inside a transformer is called magnet wire, and it's coated with a lacquer that's incredibly resilient and incredibly tough, this stuff. And it's almost impossible to get off even with a really good soldering iron. But they've also put a layer of plastic wrapping the outside of the transformer, trying to give it as much protection as possible, just against mechanical vibrations and stuff causing this thing to ever vibrate through. Now, of course, that's probably not going to happen. Now, I pulled up another piece of rubber from the bottom of the floor. So we'll give you a shot of the bottom of the floor here in just a second so you can see what we're dealing with. But basically, all it is just the very base of the chassis itself. So if I pull this to the side, you can see that what I've got is just the metal of the chassis sitting right there. The rubber goes in on top of that to cover the floor, and the transformer sits directly on top of that. Well, years ago, in talking to the guys from Star Sound, one of the pointers that they gave me was that you can take these little points and put them underneath the floor plate. Now, I'm removing the rubber before I do this, and you should not do that. However, I wouldn't do it any other way. But if you do it, you have to do it completely at your own risk. Now, again, I'm going to center the transformer onto these points so that the transformer is basically going to be sitting on those little audio points. Now, I got the audio points, again, from Star Sound, and they make these little guys. I think they're called a 0.1, and they're just a very thin audio point that's perfect for an application just like this. Now, what I do nowadays is I put a layer of AVM all over, which is anti-vibration magic. If you're interested in finding anti-vibration magic, anti-vibration magic is available at antivibrationmagic.ca. Who'd have thought it? Anyways, it's a paint that basically helps to eliminate mechanical vibrations on things like transformers, circuits, almost anything that you want to put it on. It also is excellent for being able to adhere one of these little audio points onto the bottom of the transformer. You can put a couple of coats on this of the AVM on, And basically what it does is it will help to be able to mechanically shield the bottom of the audio point, which is a very flat surface, from the actual transformer itself. So when you put that on, you put about 3 coats on, and then you put the last one on wet, and you just take this little point and put it on the bottom. The other thing that you can do is you can use some hot glue, which is what we're going to do in this particular case. We're going to use a dab of hot glue between our audio point and the actual transformer itself. Now, you want the hardest type of hot glue that you can get. So when you go down to the hardware store and you're looking for something, basically is you want something that works almost like an epoxy, where it hardens, or you could actually even use an epoxy if you wanted to. That would be a better solution. You want the greatest amount of hardness in the substance that you can get, because the whole idea here is to be able to get mechanical vibrations to flow out of the transformer and into the body of the chassis. That's why the rubber itself wasn't working. So we need to have something that will allow the mechanical vibrations to be able to flow through it. And of course, something that's very, very hard like an epoxy will work just perfectly. Now I'm going to use hot glue in this particular episode, recommending that you use something like an epoxy or very, very hard hot glue, because I've got a specialty hot glue that is actually very, very hard. We're going to be using that for the purpose of this demonstration. So I'll do that, and I'll fasten the audio points to the bottom of the transformer, and we'll be back with you just a second. Now, when you're thinking hot glue, you probably think of something like this. You've seen us use these in a few of the videos when we needed just a little bit of glue to adhere something. But when we're talking hot glue, the reason why we're using hot glue and you should use epoxy is because we're actually using about a $2,000 hot glue gun with a very special hot glue that's designed for encapsulating our connectors. And this particular hot glue is dispensed only through one of these particular types of guns. This is a high sol gun, and the combination of these is very expensive. Something is a practical application like this, you'd never want to try to go out and buy one of these things just to simply take a few audio points and put them to the bottom. Now, we've taken and we've put the audio points on the bottom of the transformer, just like I told you we were going to do. And these 3 audio points have been spaced basically so that they've been on fairly flat parts of the transformer. And once I'm done that now, all I have to do is take that transformer and put it down to the base. And I'm actually going to go ahead and reinstall on the top side of this. I'm going to leave the rubber part on there. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I really want to promote the vibration flow to come out of the bottom side of this transformer. It really would be reasonable if you wanted to take this piece of rubber and get rid of it too. I don't like rubber at all. I think it doesn't belong inside an amplifier. Sonically, it just seems to deaden things. And what we want to do is we want to make them nice and lively, correct? So we're going to take that, put it back in, and reinstall our bolt. And we've done probably one of the quickest, simplest, and maybe one of the most effective mods that you'll have heard in a while. Now, in order for this to really do something, you have to have a place for this mechanical vibration to be able to flow through. And again, I recommend that you contact Star Sound. They're not affiliated with us in any way, by the way, just friends of ours. And they sell over there the audio point. And the audio points come with different types of threaded apparatuses. So you can remove the original feet from the bottom of the amplifier and replace them with audio points. And basically the reason why you're doing this is you want to get the vibrations out of the transformer into the bottom of the chassis, and from the bottom of the chassis they need to go somewhere. You don't want them just to be able to come back up here and affect your audio circuit anyways. So what you do is you put the little audio point on the bottom side of the chassis so that the component actually sits on top of the audio point. And what that does is that helps to eliminate the vibrations from the chassis, take them right out of the chassis and put them into whatever shelf you have on the underside. Now they make all sorts of different types of racks for audio equipment, and we do as well. We make a few different racks designed specifically for the purpose of once you've got these vibrations out from the inside, that you can get them as far away from the components as possible. And Star Sound has some wonderful devices there that are designed to be able to reduce or remove mechanical vibrations and transfer them to a different spot. Give them a call and do your next mod on your amplifier or CD player or preamplifier. Basically, any transformer can be modified like this. All you have to do is just pick up the transformer, put the little devices on the bottom, make sure that you've got a fairly decent dielectric between your audio point and the transformer itself, and then you're done. I'm Rick Schultz, and welcome to the Audiophile.